Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. It has been a while since I've done a video, but I decided I should do a challenge in Kerbal Space Program to sort of get back into things. And what I came up with was building a jetpack that could fly me to the moon, Minmus, and back. But then I built the jetpack and it turned out it had 6,000 Delta V, so instead I'm going to Duna, and I'm going to land on Duna too. So, I get it into orbit using a basic launch stage because having an SSTO interplanetary jetpack would be, well, ridiculous. But we blow open the fairing, and there you can see the tiny little jetpack sitting on the nose of the craft. It has 3 xenon tanks, 3 of those radioisotope batteries. I forget what they're actually called in the game, but that's what they're supposed to be. And, of course, Jebediah perched on the front. And it uses 2 drogue chutes as actual parachutes because those were the small ones. And because all the parts are clipping, it has a spaz attack every time I try to rotate it. And when I hit the prograde button, it sort of just wobbles and doesn't actually point at prograde. So yeah, I had to fly this manually, which, oh, boo-hoo, I have to, actually control the craft. But there you can see the rocket disappearing into the sun. That's thanks to Scatter. And I also have the Cloud mod installed. I'll put links to those in the description, but you could always just Google them like a normal person. But anyway, right now I'm accelerating to escape the Kerbal Sphere of Influence, and it took me 3 passes to do this because, well, ion engines have very low thrust, and also I wanted to burn while the prograde marker was still within 10 to 20 degrees of the horizon, just so it wasn't too inefficient. On the 3rd pass we do escape, and I accelerate halfway to Duna. And this is where the mission becomes slightly less efficient. We are actually launching a little bit early, so I have to wait for Duna to catch up, and then burn at Apoapsis, which of course wastes fuel, but I had some extra Delta V and I felt like I could make this. So we go up to that maneuver. It's a nice long 11-minute burn, which is great. That's part of having an ion engine, and also just part of being out in the solar system, burning at Apoapsis, which is, again, not the most efficient place to be burning. But we accelerate, and we are going to meet up with Duna in about a third of a year. Actually, I think it ends up being closer to almost half a year. Yep, half a Duna year. And there we go, we have our intercept with the Dunan Sphere of Influence. And I add another maneuver node just to get us closer to the surface, because if we fly past Duna, we're definitely not going to have enough fuel to get back, so we'll be pretty much screwed. Now, when I actually do this burn, I think I get our altitude down within about 5,000 meters of the surface, which that's close enough. If we are going to shoot through, we'll probably just shoot through the ground. Now, to avoid us shooting through the ground, of course, I did a quick little calculation of what our suicide burn should be, and I was off by a factor of 2, if that makes sense. Basically, half the fuel, I burned through half the fuel we started with before I hit the ground, instead of burning through all of it. But it was good enough that we didn't burn up in the atmosphere, and also good enough that we hopefully won't hit the ground too hard. I keep burning all the way just to make sure I'm losing as much weight as I can, and also to get that little bit of boost from the ion engine, and I really emphasize that little because it has almost no thrust. And as we continue descending, I decide to open one of the parachutes early, and because I was going at 2 times time acceleration, that stretched out my sketchy little jetpack, and sort of worried me a little bit, but Jebediah of course did not care, and I went ahead and turned off SAS, and opened the 2nd parachute through staging. Now, these are drogue chutes, not actual parachutes, so they're not the best at slowing you down. I think the speed we actually hit the ground at was about 25 meters per second, which is not really ideal, but Kerbals are known for being resilient, and, if they land on their head, they're usually pretty good, even if they're coming from orbit. Not that Jebediah is going to be landing on his head, but he also has a jetpack for some crumple room. So I do a quick save as we come down towards the ground, and kaboom! Jebediah is alive, and the parachutes are too, until we hit the ground, and the parachutes are lost, leaving only a cubic octagonal strut and this randomly reappearing explosion. And of course Jebediah, because he is a badass. He can't die, come on, it's Jeb. But let's go ahead and plant ourselves a flag to, you know, celebrate this victory. We made it all the way to Duna with a jetpack. Not a cheap jetpack, but a small jetpack. I don't know the exact price of ion engines in this game, but I'm sure they're not cheap or, you know, early technology. So that's all for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more like it, go ahead and subscribe and give it a like. And also keep an eye out for another video that should be coming out soon about space elevators. But anyway, for now, I'm ConHappy, and bye.